If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
You go back to the West Coast. A lot of guys, I was talking to Ed Dixon before the game in Seattle, and he said, dude, this is a mess for me. I don't even want to go. I mean,
my God.
It's such a mess for me to handle all this. Give me an idea of what this trip back to Southern California is like for you, as people that you don't even know are your cousins are suddenly coming up as cousins.
It's such a nightmare. Like my mom and my sister, as soon as we won the game yesterday, my mom and my sister both start texting me. My sister's like, okay, I'm coming to the game with my boyfriend, and I need 2 tickets for my friends. And I'm like, and then she's like, and I'm not picking mom up either. My mom lives in San Diego, so does my brother, and my sister lives in LA, but on her way, she can pick up my mom and take her to the game.
Make it easy.
Right, make it easy on me. And then my mom texts me like, oh, your sister's not going to pick me up, and one of my friends has to take me, so you got to get her a ticket, and da-da-da. I'm like, Mom, Rose is going to pick you up. That's my sister, and you two are going to come to the game. Her boyfriend's not coming, just you two. That's it.
At any point, did they say good game?
No, they didn't congratulate me or nothing. They didn't say good game or I love you, I'm glad you made it. No, but my sister has a new boyfriend, so I got to get him a ticket because I got to meet this guy. I got to check him out and see what he's all about.
This is good. This is good because Luke has an attractive sister, so we always like talking about
Luke's sister's hot. She's hot.
No doubt.
She's here tonight.
So
she's blushing.
I've looked her from head to toe a couple times.
All right.
Hey, easy there.
Yeah, she's hot.
Luke, you don't want this fight. Trust me, you don't want this fight.
I'll abstain for right now.
So how do you handle the first meeting with the sister's boyfriend? I mean, how does that go about, and what are you trying to figure out about this dude as you meet him?
I don't know. I'll probably just get naked and do some push-ups and be like, you're dating my sister, ain't you? No.
How is that different than any other day?
Well, that's a typical day, actually.
Right.
But no, actually, in high school, it's kind of funny because my sister never received a phone call in high school.
Out of fear?
A boy never called the house.
Because they knew the two of you.
I mean, because my brother and I, we were both already 6'2", 230 pounds in high school or whatever, right? So she was a freshman. I went to school with her, sophomore, no phone calls. Then I go off to college and I come back on vacation, for Christmas break, and the phone rings.
Right.
And I pick up the phone, I'm like, hello. And then all I hear is a click. I'm like, yep, they're calling now. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want a piece of BA,
Luke, how do you handle when people call your sister?
Luke, what do you do?
Yeah.
Tell us what you do when people are hitting on your sister.
I'm a very intimidating presence. I mean, I work out at Planet Fitness all the time. So, you give them the firm handshake. You look them in the eye. You're not going to smile. You never smile. That's the biggest thing.
Don't give them the smile.
Yeah, but for the most part, she's dated some okay guys.
Yeah, they're probably clowns.
Probably.
I guess. All right, Brendan Ivadeja is out with us at High Top's Backstage Grill for Monday Night Live. Football-wise, going to San Diego, this is, Nestor was kind of talking about this. This is a really interesting scenario, and I was wondering if you've ever had anything like this happen. So they go into this game right now. They're 2 games out in the AFC West. But the Broncos are playing the Patriots at 4 o'clock before they play. So it's not that it would clinch, but if the Broncos win that game, it sort of all but ruins them. It really puts them in a spot where they might not be able to get up from the mat. Have you ever experienced anything like that as a football player, where you had a game that you were watching that you knew was important, that if it went one way, it meant we can go claiming that what's that like when it's literally, it's not just, it's one thing everybody's looking at the scoreboard. This is before you go on the field. It could be the difference in you're playing for the chance to get right back into the division, or you might be all but eliminated before you even step foot on the field.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I've played this scenario quite like this one, but another scenario that kind of reminds me of this one, but yet it's a little bit different, is when Buffalo was playing Pittsburgh last year.
Okay.
And they're winning the game.
Right.
Then they lose the lead. Then they come back and they're on the final drive, and the dude drops the touchdown.
Stevie Johnson.
And that would have been the difference from us having a home game in Baltimore or being wild card and having to do everything on the road. So that was one of those scenarios where we were watching really close. Both teams finished with the same record, just one play away from us winning the division. It just was one play, a guy dropping a touchdown for Buffalo. And it was kind of one of those scenarios like, man, so this game for Denver, if they go and lose, now all of a sudden San Diego has a lot more to play for. So it's it can potentially make it kind of a playoff atmosphere. It's already going to be a night game, and night games are usually a little bit more intense, a little bit faster than a day game. So if the Patriots go and knock out Denver, well, just not knock them out, but if they defeat Denver, now all of a sudden San Diego's going to be playing with a little bit of extra
because they know one win and we're back within the game, right?
But at the same token, I want Denver to go win. Well, actually, I want Denver to win either way because it's going to make it's going to give the Patriots a little bit less of a lead on us for home playoffs throughout, the number 1 seed throughout, and then it'll take that umph away from San Diego as well. So it'll be a good thing.
And he's a Tebow fan.
Tebow. Oh, that's so crazy they do that. I was like, that's hilarious. But Tebow's a great guy, man. I'm so happy for him, and just the way that the NFL has a formula, and like, okay, our quarterbacks need to be 6'4", they need to have great arms, they need to do this, that, and the other. Now Tebow's an option quarterback. You've seen quarterbacks like him, Tommy Frazier, Scott Frost, these guys that come out of Nebraska, that could potentially have been what Tebow is now.
Sure.
But they were never given the opportunity to play quarterbacks. They come to the NFL, they play safety or they play wide receiver or different positions. So for Tebow to come and stick to his guns and play quarterback and do what he's doing, I'm really proud of him.
You find yourself rooting for him?
I do root for him, and it's so good for the NFL because he's such a great guy, and he's so different than any athlete we've seen before. This muscular quarterback that's a run-first quarterback, and he's a win-first quarterback, actually. And just the person that he is on the field, off the field, soft-spoken, yet gets on the field, is really aggressive and plays, and he's all about team. So he's amazing for the NFL. And I actually had the pleasure to meet him this summer.
Yeah.
I went to University of Florida. I had a job internship, a weekend internship, job shadow with the athletic department. I met Tim Tebow, and he's everything that you see on TV. He's that soft-spoken, nice guy. I hadn't even met him before, and he gave me a hug, so that was pretty cool. Yeah,
that's pretty
a little bit of bromance with Tebow.
It's funny because when I see you out in the streets, you never give me a hug. You just sort of say, "Oh yeah, you're that guy. I don't know you.
I'll see you Monday."
Right. I don't know you. Yeah, it's the way that it works.
I give you the. It's called big leaguing. When you big league somebody,
I noticed.
I give you just the. I just big league you.
Oh yeah, I'm aware of your existence, but I don't want to act like you're a friend. That's the way that this goes.
We could be friends when nobody's looking.
Right. Hey, real quick before we wrap this up, UCLA hired a coach.
Right, Jim Mora Jr.
What do you think?
I don't know what to think because we're so excited when we hired Neuheisel. He was successful in college, wasn't an NFL head coach, but had been in the NFL and was successful in the NFL. Now Jim Mora was in the NFL. He's an NFL coach, and he really wasn't successful, with the Falcons. So I don't know what to think. And he must have did really good, but I don't even know who the other candidates were that they.
Well, they wanted a guy from Boise State. Right. They wanted Al Golden from Miami. I mean, they had a couple.
I wanted Leach from Texas Tech.
Everybody wants him as a coach.
And so I thought that would have been. I want to coach this. Well, actually, because I can't even say I want a coach that's successful in college because Neuheisel was that.
Right.
So I just I hope the best for them. They need to make a lot of changes, and hopefully they're going to start running a pro style offense. That pistol offense was very mediocre, and get some really good defensive coaches and turn the program around because UCLA's always been known as a basketball school, but when I was there, we had a really good football team. We finished top 5 2 years in a row, so I'm looking forward to them getting back to that.
And right now, they can't beat anybody in basketball either.
Yeah, now basketball's not even going in the right direction. Yeah. But
you guys still have all your water polo championships. That's good. You got that.
Under basket water weaving champs, NCAA. But everything's cyclical, and all of sports, all of sports, everything is cyclical. Whoever's at the top, it's just a matter of time before they go to the bottom and then rise back to the top. So it's just one of those things in sports. You just got to be patient. Your fans got to stick with the organizations or teams or schools or whatever it is, and everything will come full circle.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Brendan Imadasia. I always love ending it by just saying, go kick ass in San Diego on Sunday.
Absolutely. Number 11. Let's do it.
No doubt, man. We will be back out here next Monday night for Monday Night Live at High Tops. How do you follow up Joe Flacco? I was thinking Morgan Cox next week.
Does anybody know who Morgan Cox is? He's got the Fu Manchu for real, though. He's got it.
He does.
He's our long snapper, second-year long snapper. Morgan Cox will be joining us next week. I'm just kidding, by the way. Everybody's like, oh, get Michael Orr out here. We want to see Mike, or get Dennis Pitt out here. So we'll see. Guys are really busy, so we're gonna try to keep with the star-studded cast and get you guys somebody nice for sure.
All right, we will take a quick break. More
Vontae Leach. That's a good one. Leach. I call Vontae Leach the Dark Knight. And whenever I see him, I see Dark Knight Rise. He's always killing people. So Monte would be a good guy. I don't think you understand a single word that comes out of his mouth unless you're from the South.
That's true.
But we're gonna get that boy out here for sure.
That's what Pernell McPhee did last week. Then we made it through.
Oh, Pernell McPhee, Weezy, baby.
No doubt.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.